What's up, girlies? Welcome back. Music Corner, as always, host Britney Spears' pregnancy drop. And today we are once again bitching about the Hot 100, everybody's favorite list of the most popular songs. Rest in peace, Rolling Stones charts. Yes, a few months ago I was so compelled by how terrible the top 10 of the Hot 100 was that I made a video where I just complained about it for like 15 minutes, and I said that I would be back to do more such complaining in the future, and I really didn't think it would take this long. You would kind of be surprised how much some of those mediocre songs stuck around. In fact, a lot of them are still in the top 10 right now. And we went through a couple of pretty big false flags along the way. I thought that The Weeknd might be able to score a hit. He did not. I thought that Charli XCX might be able to. She did not. I really thought that this Megan Thee Stallion and Dua Lipa collaboration, a song that I actually kind of like, was going to be a hit, and it still could be. Dua songs tend to break late, but even this wasn't a hit. Even Camila Cabello collaborating with Ed Sheeran on a super duper mediocre song, I don't think ever cracked the top 10. I'm pretty sure it peaked at 11, so it has been a serious goddamn drought. And of course, it's no surprise to anyone that the reason we are making this video is because that drought was ended. In fact, the dam was basically erupted, destroyed, overflown by an extremely high-reaching #1 debut. We basically knew this song was going to debut #1 after like 3 days of tracking because Harry Styles can pull in some fucking numbers. Now, as a music critic, I think that As It Was is an okay song. It's a good, gentle, breezy indie pop tune that is catchy. I like it. I don't love it. I think some of the backlash came from how high Harry Styles set expectations with his first 2 lead singles, Sign of the Times and Lights Up, both of which are really great. Compared to them, this song, it's just okay. But as a dedicated chart follower, this thing is such a fucking breath of fresh air that I just want to stream it over and over and over again until I'm sick of it, so it never ever leaves the top 10. Seriously, after a lot of the crap that we have been put through for the past couple of months with the charts, it is just great to have not only a good new song reaching out on both radio and streaming, scoring a really high debut, but also one that I can genuinely enjoy from an artist who is pretty unproblematic. It's just a collation of a lot of good things coming together, and I think in that sense, Harry Styles really lived up to the bill. I have a feeling that this thing is going to be a pretty big hit, and it seems to have already garnered some pretty sustained momentum. Speaking of sustained momentum, there's another new song on the list that I can say I actually enjoy, and it's the Lotto song, Big Energy, which has been climbing up the charts for quite a while now. The week it was released last year, in one of my written features about the best new singles of the week, I wrote about how I enjoyed this song, and my enjoyment of it has mostly persisted. Now that this thing has completed its climb into the top 5, which it had some help doing, her album was released, which certainly helped streams. She also got a remix with some high-profile guest features on it. All of the hot takes are coming out, and I will say the one that spoke to me the most was Todd in the Shadows, who wrote a tweet about this song and why he doesn't like it. And while I didn't agree with a lot of his points, the one that did really resonate with me is how lazy of a sample job the song is built around. Not only is Genius of Love an extremely common song for artists of all kinds to pull for and to sample, but Lotto doesn't really even do anything particularly interesting with it. She basically just leaves it as is, basically as a beat to underlay the hook. But aside from that, I think her bars are creative and clever, very charismatic. Her vocals are uncompromising, and I just generally find this song to be pretty appealing. And even if you're not head over heels for it, you probably got to admit that it's better than most of what has been on the charts recently. There's also a trio of songs on here that I'm comfortable admitting I enjoy. That would be Justin Bieber's Ghost, the Lil Nas X song, That's What I Want, and to some degree Doja Cat's Woman, but I have the same problem with all three of these songs being in the top 10, and it's that it's almost like we wore out the best, the A tier, the great tunes from all of these recently chart-dominant artists. It's like we listened to Peaches and Industry Baby and Kiss Me More so much last year that now we've just got to throw out like the B team singles, the not as good songs, and suddenly they're racking up a ton of streams. Like, none of these songs are anywhere near these artists' best, and yeah, they're fine, and yeah, they're from eras that I've enjoyed from all three of these artists, at least commercially speaking, and it's just not really blowing anybody away, I can't imagine. And the last new song on the charts since the last time I talked about them is the Imagine Dragons featuring Jid song Enemy. Now, I can't really be mad at this song for a number of different reasons, chiefly among them, while yeah, it's bad, it's almost like it could be so much worse. I think the blueprint for how bad this song could have potentially been is the Maroon 5 and Kendrick Lamar collaboration, Don't Wanna Know, which I even asked my Twitter followers after seeing these two songs be compared so many times which one they preferred, and it's clear and obvious that Enemy is a far better song in really every single element. And while yeah, Imagine Dragons, they're not great, and some of the features that make their music so annoyingly, aggravatingly difficult to listen to certainly show up on this song. This is one of their more tolerable singles by just about any measure compared to some of their worse, more overblown and obnoxious material. I can really tolerate this. And for the most part, they let Jid kind of do his thing. It's no secret that I'm a fan of Jid. I was a little bit apprehensive seeing him on this song, and yeah, it's not one of his better verses ever, but at least he's getting attention, and at least, like I said, he was kind of allowed to do his thing on the track. No, the worst of the bunch is unfortunately the Thestragglers that are still here over 2 months after I made the last video. Like, the Adele song has faded, gone outside the top 10. All of the Encanto songs, which I thought were at least tolerable, have seemed to completely disappear. But for some reason, the gunk, the worst of the bunch, has stuck around, has just glued itself into the top 10. I dished out a little bit of praise in my last video for Kid Laroi because I do legitimately like his song Without You, even though most critics hate it, but I just cannot get behind Stay. I do not understand the appeal of this song. It's so summery, it's so boring, and just the malaise of listening to this track and the dweeby little electro synth breakdown, it's just so tedious and so taxing and so boring. I'm not surprised that it's a hit, and I'm not surprised that it's maintained its success because Justin Bieber really is a force on the charts like that, and he gets people's attention. I don't know, it's just not really doing it for me. Though it is nowhere near as bad as this Kodak Black song, I just have to throw my hands up at some point and say that clearly I don't understand Kodak Black or what anybody sees in him. I mean, it's not like the dude is a critical darling or anything. He takes a pretty harsh beating from critics, but so does Gunna, and I kind of understand Gunna. I understand how if you only really perceive his music in the background, it can be nice to vibe to. It can be a pleasant second-hand listening experience, but I can't even imagine listening to Kodak Black second-hand because his voice and his mannerisms are so silly and obnoxious and distracting that it just sucks my brain away from anything else going on around me and makes me hone in on everything that I don't like about Kodak Black. He just dropped, honest to God, one of his worst features ever on the new Lotto album, and I just don't know what to say. The sustained success of this song in the top 10 does not even seem real to me. And yet somehow still the worst is yet to come. Truly a rancid song. A, B, C, D, E, F, U. Now I'm not surprised this thing became an initial hit. It's certainly riding a wave of post-Olivia Rodrigo hype from some of the more rambunctious songs on her debut album, but its sustained success is what really blows my mind because it's so shallow, it's so one-dimensional, so singular, and I just don't understand how after 3 months now, anyone can still listen to this song and see anything in it, can even continue to enjoy it. I can't even listen to this thing once all the way through without completely losing whatever brain activity was going on in my head when it started. So I can't imagine how people are hearing this on the radio for the 50th, 80th, 100th time and still vibing with it. Who is streaming this? Like, who's gonna play this with their friends or at a party or something? It's just so nothing. And speaking of so nothing, I don't even know what to say about heat waves. For those of you that are out of the loop, I made a video like 6 months ago talking about how heat waves' steady, sustained rise to success was so weird because Glass Animals had never had a hit before. I had no idea where the momentum was coming from, and the song really isn't good. So fast forward to a couple months later when I made the first bitching about the Hot 100 episode, and all of a sudden this thing is a top 10 hit. It has a ton of sustained success, upward momentum. I even predicted in that video that it would continue to rise, and boy, did it. This thing was number 1, I think, for like 3 weeks, which is so insane to me. Not only did that run happen 2 years after the album came out, but it's just like such a nothing song. It is just so indistinct, lacking that flavor or vision for any one particular style or sound. It's a little bit indie and a little bit pop, a little bit rock, a little bit electronica, but it's not really any of those. It's just mush with samey refrains throughout, a really simple, dumb, even kind of icky sentiment. And like, as a Glass Animals fan, it just sucks that people are entirely ignoring their second record full of good songs and just honing in on one of the worst songs of their entire career. But I'll shut up about heat waves. God, please let this be the last time I have to talk about or tweet a funny gif about or make a hot take about heat waves. I'm ready for it to disappear. It's been like my fucking nemesis or something for the last 6 months. It feels like Anthony Fantano and Nav, or like Todd in the Shadows and White Boys with Guitars. I'm really ready to put the beef with heat wave to rest. It won. It proved me wrong. It did everything that I didn't think I could see or explain, and I surrender. All I want now is for it to just go away. So let's talk about a couple of the songs that might make it go away, because I really do, for the first time in a while, feel pretty optimistic about the future of the charts, probably since Lil Nas X and Olivia Rodrigo took over the charts in the summer of last year, which was a really, really great run for commercial music. I'm hoping this summer can do something similar, starting with Harry Styles and maybe even including Lotto in that, and moving into a couple of tracks that just came out that I'm hoping can be big hits. The obvious one is the new Jack Harlow song, which, hey, it's not great. It's very singular. It's fine, it's a vibe, the bars are okay, but at the very least, the sample is pretty creative. He flipped one of the better Fergie tracks on the hook here, and I actually think he did something really interesting with it. I like the way he interpolates the lettering, like the Sex and the AM thing. And yeah, I'm not sure this thing will be as big of a hit as, say, What's Poppin', but I certainly think it could reach the high points of some of his other singles as a lead artist. I'm also really pulling for the new Camila Cabello and Willow song. I know that people don't really like Camilla, and people, at least people online, don't particularly want for her to succeed. But generally speaking, I enjoy this song, and I think she has done good with collaborations. Obviously, some of her biggest hits like Havana and My Oh My are collaborations, and Willow has a little bit of chart momentum from songs like Transparent Soul and Meet Me at Our Spot. I guess that emo girl song with Machine Gun Kelly, if you consider that a mid-level chart hit. But yeah, they brought this thing to SNL and did a pretty good job, and Camilla's new album came out, and I would love to see that propel this song to a kind of hit status, although I will say the Pophead subreddit really, really loves this track, which is a terrible sign for its commercial success. And if you believe the writing on the wall and some of the rumors, we may be in for some pretty big industry releases later on this summer. So I suspect that there will be not just one or two more good hits emerging, but hopefully plenty. I'm sure TikTok will dig something up that's 2 years old and that will become a big hit. Or some artist that nobody has ever heard of will make a snippet that becomes a huge hit. Something crazy will happen this summer to the Hot 100 that will be worth talking about. At the very least, I'm ready for some of these terrible-ass songs, like ABCDEFU and the Kodak Black song where he's a gremlin, and Heat Waves to go away. And that's it. More bitching about the Hot 100 will come at some point, although maybe the next episode will be great. Maybe it'll be praising the Hot 100, although honestly, I can't even imagine the top 10 of the Hot 100 without at least something to bitch about. It's almost common courtesy at this point. And I'll be back in a few weeks with the April and March update, and after that I might try something a little new. I've got an idea swimming around in my head, but keep an eye out on the blog, link in the description, where I'm talking about new albums that are coming out and the best new songs of the week every Sunday. Get a sneak peek of some tracks that might become big hits down the road. And that is all I've got. If Britney Spears names her baby Lavender, it's because of me.